Alina. So nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you too. Um, yeah, quick introduction for me. Hi everyone, I'm Alishba. I'm the new social media manager or lead, for the Youth Activism Project. Today we're interviewing Alina. Alina, you can give yourself an introduction and like your organization.
Hi, so I'm Alina Korathu. I am with Youth Activism Project, and I'm an Afghan refugee youth activist, and I'm helping towards helping resettle Afghan refugees. And I'm also 16 years old, and I live in Pennsylvania. So it's a little bit about me.
Great. Yeah, I mean, we can just get right into the questions. So the first question I have for you is, how did you get into activism?
Yeah, so growing up watching the news, and I used to always see activists, especially around gun rights and like seeing the Parkland shooting. So I saw all these teens, speaking up for what they believed in, and I guess that I was like, wow, these people are so brave, and I wish I could. I definitely this. So I wanted to do something about that, and I was just like looking on how I could start being an activist, and I can start contributing to my community. And I went online, and then I saw Youth Activism Project, and I was like, this is a really great organization to help me get my foot and step in starting to start my activism journey. So that was how I got my start.
Cool. Yeah, and like what specifically about like the Afghan refugee like issue interested you?
I think about the fact that it happened pretty quickly and recently. I mean, I was sitting down and then I saw all these headlines about how the Taliban seized Kabul and how there were so many refugees, and they showed videos of all these refugees like clambering onto these planes, and there was so much desperation, and like families were being separated, and honestly, I was just heartbroken to see this, and I looked around and I was like, how could I help? So that's how I started. That's what intrigued me to help Afghan refugees.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that. When I saw that plane video, my heart was like broken. I can't imagine. Ugh. Yeah, like so next question. What does your organization do? Like what is your project?
So I'm starting an organization which is working with other organization or NGOs which don't work with the government but are helping towards the resettlement process of Afghan refugees. So I recently found one here in Pennsylvania. It's close to where I live. It's in Lancaster County. It's called the Church World Service. And it's a faith-based organization that helps people around the globe with issues of hunger, poverty, and especially refugees. So I reached out and I contacted a person there and I was like, hey, how can I help? So me and her I'm like starting an organization at my school, and then I'm trying to do outreach in my community and, working with the people there in Lancaster and finding out and helping Afghan refugees through fundraising and advocating for them.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, great. Yeah, so when I did like research on you and like what your organization does and like what you stand for, I noticed that you've been like trying to talk to like congressmen, like politicians about about your goals. I just wanted to ask, has there like been any progress?
Yeah, so our organization is pretty new, so we're trying to, get that settled and trying to gain new members and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but after that, right now we're kind of quickly working towards contacting congressmen and congresswomen, especially since our main goal is to advocate for these refugees. So we're looking at emailing, writing to them, and maybe even talking to them about how like they can pass bills to help support the refugees.
Oh, great. Well, I hope you guys get there.
Yeah.
So like about the Afghan people, like what do you think is the greatest challenge, or what is the greatest challenge that they face today?
Yeah, so Afghan refugees face a lot of challenges because obviously they're in a foreign country. They left behind what they've known for their entire life. So the biggest challenges are issues such as like uncertain immigration status, limited social resources, and permanent housing. Because the refugees are coming to America without approved visas, and this makes them ineligible for federal social programs given to those admitted as refugees. And these programs offer services such as Medicaid and money, which are obviously very necessary to help them like live in this new country. Also, something that you have to keep in mind is that the legal status of many of the refugees are varied. Some are US citizens, some are green card holders, others have been granted visas like the SIV or immigrant visa, which is meant for Afghans who worked with the US government. But that's a long process to apply for these visas, and this can take like months or even years, especially if like a large backlog in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, many others have no legal status at all, but now Biden has expanded access to refugee programs, which is critical for Afghans who don't qualify for SIVs. So this is crucial for them to have access to get up on their feet and to survive. So definitely them finding a path to be granted a visa or a citizenship is one of the biggest challenges they face.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You know, Afghan people coming and like they're leaving their family and coming to like a completely new country where they don't speak the language and like they don't have that same sense of community. So like what has been done, or has there been anything done to make sure that like Afghan refugees feel connected to their community?
So that's a really good question. So I was talking to the person who is kind of in charge of the Lancaster PA, like organizing the Afghan refugees or resettling the Afghan refugees there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just talking, and she was like, yeah, some of the needs of the Afghan refugees there, they're like requesting items which are familiar to them and they used to use when they were in Afghanistan. So she's asking people for items such as like simple items like tea, like they love the certain type of tea that they used to get served in Afghanistan. And obviously I love tea, so I totally understand. But so she's like just asking simple things like that just to make them feel more at home and more comfortable as much as we can, because obviously they've gone through so much. So
yeah, I love tea too. I'm South Asian, so tea is very high in our culture. But about community like there's also religion in community, and coming from like a majority Muslim country to like a minority Muslim country, like what has been the general response like from the refugees regarding religion?
So regarding religion, I'm not really aware of that one, but I know for a fact that some of the refugee children, I think it's the Lutheran immigration organization that's working to kind of helping Afghan refugee children who have whose family is still in Afghanistan or who are orphans. They're trying to pair them up with other Muslim Americans or other Afghan Americans, trying to like, be culturally aware and like grow up in a culturally sensitive environment to kind of help them.
Oh, I did not know that. Cool, that's good. Yeah, I mean, so we all know about COVID and how that all affected us generally. That was pretty hard. So like, I can only imagine how it was for the Afghan refugees. So like, how has it impacted them?
So COVID has like really hindered the resettlement process for Afghan refugees. It's going to complicate that refugees' access to healthcare, allowing like the asylum process, which obviously takes a long time, but especially with COVID being relevant, it's going to take even more time. Refugee admissions and being safe in crowded living conditions at military bases, since some or majority of the Afghan refugees who are coming to America are living in military bases. So obviously it's pretty crowded. And there's been 20,500 Afghan refugees living there. So it's very hard during a pandemic to, socially distance and just to make sure they're safe. So that's definitely been a challenge during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, like leaving their country, like in such a hurry, and like the way
Mhm.
that they left, it was like, I feel like it was traumatic for them. Um, and like it must have taken a burden on their like mental health and stuff. So like, do you have any information on like mental health status or like any policies that should be placed to assist them with their mental health services?
Obviously, they're facing a lot of mental health. And actually, I was talking to another activist, and she's the one who brought it up. And I was like, wow, like I've been so wrapped around this whole idea of like, stuff they need, like advocating. I've never really like put some thought into their mental health. But when I like started looking into it, I was like, they face so much trauma, especially like the children, and anyone who's gone through that circumstance is obviously going to face so much trauma. So I was actually researching a bit about it, and I think that I took an example from the uh, Durham. I think it's a other refugee organization. They partnered with the UNC School of Social Work to help Afghan refugees' mental health, and I think that's a good way to help them with their mental health. And they also have a community engagement team, so the refugees have someone to talk to. And I think that's powerful to have a group of people that you can talk to just to, get your feelings out. And it's obviously been so hard, and they obviously feel super isolated being in a foreign country. So I think that more and more people like just engage with them and make them feel like they're more at home as much as we can.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. Um, so them being in like their community and like obviously them being in a community is like somewhat helpful, but they still are in distress. And so
Yeah.
like having like support is like necessary. So besides your contribution, do you know anything like what has been done to like ensure that the refugees are settling comfortably?
So there's been so many volunteers and people working as translators or even sponsoring Afghan families, and I applaud all these people who are doing that. That is great. And I've known there's been some push to pass an Afghan Adjustment Act to kind of help along with the visa process and stuff like that. So that's what we're working towards. More and more people are working towards pushing for that act and like advocating for that act to be passed for the sake of these Afghan refugees. And also there's been a large increase in volunteers volunteering at refugees organization and NGOs, which are helping these refugees. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, that's really good. Um, yeah, I mean, besides the adults, like the children must be having like like a terrible time, honestly. Like going through that at such a young age, I can't imagine how traumatic that would be for them. Um, Especially like I know the girls in Afghanistan, they're not really allowed to have education and stuff. So like coming here, like what specifically has been done to like ensure that they have adequate education or like access to education in general?
So I was actually reading an article about what they're doing to help educate Afghan refugees, especially the children. So 40% of Afghan refugees are processed at military bases, and the 40% of the Afghan refugees are children. So that's a large number of children who are away from their home and obviously have gone through such a traumatic event. So federal officers have actually set up recreational activities so they can like check out books, watch movies, and play games. And there's also some educational instruction as well, set up focused on teaching English, cultural orientations, but these classes aren't really like, the classes we have going to school, high school and stuff like that. So I think these classes are not like strong enough for them. But I think they're working towards at least setting a base and like teaching them step by step before really pushing them and making them go into school, because obviously that must be really overwhelming for them walking into like a school in a country they have no idea they're unfamiliar with. So I think they're taking it step by step.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that's good. Yeah, putting them into like a American school environment from the get-go is gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
um, yeah. Besides the well, now we got the kids with their education, but for the parents, like they have to provide and stuff, and you know, America is notorious for saying like, oh, they're all stealing our jobs and stuff,
Yeah.
whatever, some stuff like that. But has there anything like anything specific or anything in general just been done to make sure that they're provided with like jobs that they can do?
I think there's definitely been like a struggle to help them get jobs because obviously to work you need like a visa and stuff like that. So in trying to get the visas, there's been obviously some struggle trying to get that because there's been backlog. But for the refugees who do have visas, they've been starting to work, and the organizations, Afghan refugee organizations and NGOs, like I said, are helping them and aiding them in that process. Like I talked to with CWS. And they said that they're trying to help them look for jobs and apply for jobs and driving them to those interviews. So I think, we definitely have to speed up the visa process and just make sure that,
Yeah.
They're able to work and provide.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. The visa process is like, I don't know the exact stuff that goes into it, but I know it's like a really lengthy process.
Yeah.
And really strenuous. So yeah. What's your organization's like plan moving forward?
So we're planning on, spreading out. And right now we're based in Pennsylvania. So I'm trying to spread out more towards my community and later on maybe outreach across people across the country. Honestly, obviously, if like you're interested in starting maybe like just doing small steps, like maybe like a club at your school, you can definitely like reach out to me. I'll be definitely interested in helping you, and maybe we can connect and discuss about how to help the Afghan refugees. As young people, we have a voice and we should definitely use it to help these people who are so disadvantaged and have gone through so much. So I'm thinking just to spread out and start talking to Congress people and just advocating for these refugees and fundraising for them to help them get the items that they need. That's my plan moving forward.
That's cool. I mean, you kind of already answered it in your question, but I was just gonna say, like, do you have any like tips for like aspiring activists or like anything that we can do to help?
So some tips I would have, just like take the initiative. Honestly, I'm a very introverted person. Like I don't usually, it's very hard for me to like just to put myself out there, but go online, find resources, find organizations, find people like-minded like you who really want to help other people and help advocate for these things. And I would just say, just take the initiative and put yourself out there and, you'll do great things.
Yeah. I'm really introverted too. I never thought I would like be on here on social media in front of like people.
I was so nervous like going on this. I was like, oh my God, like I have to practice.
Me too. Me too. I was so nervous. But this is cool. It's pretty chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see it. It's just a little bit.
I'm back.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. Okay. My dad was calling me. Okay. Yeah. Those are pretty much all of my questions. Do you guys have like social media or like a website or something that I can promote?
Well, right now I just have my Instagram account. We're trying to like, work together and promote a social media, but we're going to, if any of you guys want to contact me, my Instagram is Alina K. It's ALINA K. So you can just DM me and tell me if you're interested. We can definitely work together.
Sorry, I forgot to ask this before, but like, is there anything that I didn't ask besides that you think that we should know about like the situation, the issue that would help like raise awareness or something?
Just like look out for refugee like or organizations that are helping out refugees near you, because I wasn't aware that there was actually an organization helping refugees near me until I was like scrolling through the news and I saw an article about how in Philly like there's a there's an organization like that. So definitely just look out there and, you know, reach out to them because obviously they need all the help they can and do that. I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's those are all my questions. Thank you so much for coming on and giving us
Yeah.
your time. This was very insightful. I learned a lot from this, honestly.
No, this was so fun. I love talking to you guys and stuff like
I mean, if anyone on here has a question, feel free to ask. I mean, we're here.
that.
How has your experience been with the app?
Oh, it's been really good. Like all the people here have been so welcoming and like so nice. And I've just honestly learned a lot about activism. Like I was like, what do I do? Like there's so much. Like I obviously don't know what to say or anything. Like I didn't know if my ideas were worthwhile, but like honestly, like they kind of like helped me like bring out these ideas and kind of act on them. So I really loved it. Far.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. No, I honestly, me too. Like, I didn't know. I was never really like an official activist. I would post like here and there on my story, repost like informational stuff, obviously to spread awareness, but I never considered myself an activist. And like
Yeah.
getting into the app, even me being like the social media lead, not really having like my own project. I mean, this is my project, but like it's enlightened me a lot because I get to research on topics and stuff that I never really thought of before. But
No, I know. It's been such like an experience for me. Like I've honestly never thought that I would be doing this, but it's
yeah,
honestly been so great and I'm so privileged and like blessed to be doing this.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all. If you guys have no questions, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much again for coming on. We have other social media platforms for anyone who's watching still. Our Facebook and Twitter are both at the UACT Project. Make sure to check there because we post there all the time too. Yeah, thank you. It was
Thanks.
really nice talking to you.
No, it was really nice talking to you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.